Hello, this is Kirk Shannonbutts. I'm the public art manager and curation manager for BOPA. Today I'm here with our second virtual artist tour with Zach Wade. Um, Before we get started, I want to acknowledge our sponsors. One, Reka Vodka and Cal. And secondly, I want to thank the Maryland State Art Council. So we're going to jump right into it with Zach. So, Zach, tell us about how you got started in glassblowing.
So I started glassblowing here in 2010 at the Cordetti Glassblowing Studio in the Clipper Mill area, sort of near Hamden, if you're familiar. I've been doing this off and on, but quite recently putting a bit more effort and taking my work a bit more seriously. So that would be within like the last 5 years.
So I met Zach in 2015 about, and I immediately recognized his talent. I was working with Anthony Cordetti, and we're in the Cordetti Glass Studio right now. And so it was really interesting watching someone who would be considered a glass master, Anthony, and watching someone emerging in the field. And of course, as a curator, that's my thing, working with emerging talent and unsung talent. So I knew that Zach was quite talented, and he has a really great personality, and it comes through in his art. So I know last year, maybe 3 years ago, he was telling me about this show that he was working on, the Bra Show. So last year, I actually went to see the pieces unbeknownst to him, and it was so wonderful because the pieces had sold. So I was like, okay, I was right about him. So now I'm here with him today on our second virtual tour in his studio here. And so he's going to talk to us a little bit about the pieces that he had in the show and other shows at Creative Alliance and Why Art. Is it called Why Art?
Wire. Yeah,
Why Art in Highlandtown. We have to plug out art communities, Highlandtown, in Hamden here, in Clipper Mill. So Zach, tell us about the pieces.
So, one, I want to say thank you, and I'm honored to be a part of the Open Studio Tour here in Baltimore. And similarly, I was invited, or there was a call to action at the Y Arts Gallery to make work about bras. And I was encouraged with my personality to see if I could create a body of work. And as you can see, they all have like a different look. There's like an evolution to the body of work. I chose different colors. Some of it is recessed in. I did a dynamic angled cut and polished it. And even with, I'm even progressing with this body of work now where I'm thinking about either hanging it from the ceiling or making a case so it tilts. And I'm like open to suggestions about it, you know, the idea of what makes a bra. And conceptually, my intent behind the body of work was that to question, like constantly, the history, the origins, the look of the object. As you can see at the very far end over here, the bra is coming off the form, and that was traditionally how the female form was represented on vessels in the past by men specifically. And so I wanted to reflect that, and you can see that by having the bra recessed, reflecting inwards, and so you get a nice view with this angled cut. And that's what this work is generally about. But with my work in general, I don't think I'm ever done with it. I constantly want to challenge myself, and I challenge my audience as well with the message, like, you know, thinking in this body of work, equal rights. You know, we're constantly need to make ourselves better as humans. So I want my artwork to reflect that. And so...
So Zach, when you're approaching a piece, this is obviously was made for show. So how does that work? How do you approach it? What research do you do?
So I did a ton of research into bra's history, and it's turns out that there was a few patents and stuff like that were filed by men, and I thought that it was, in this specific one, very relevant. And then I try out different versions of an idea. I had 2 to 3 other ideas about how I would make work about bras. Maybe I would cast the glass. Maybe I would use kiln work and just form it over a bra so you could capture the detail work. And for this, especially with certain glass work, sometimes less is more. And that conceptual side, I'd like my audience to sort of fill in the gaps for themselves.
So how do you know when less is more and more is too much?
Ooh, yeah, no, that one's a little bit more difficult, especially before showing the work. I would say if the glass's function supersedes my work in the sense of detail, so you would say it's a vessel, and I don't really want that. So I want it to not be considered a traditional function of glass. I want to take that away, and as soon as I sort of achieve that kind of point, I stop, and then I show it and wait for feedback.
So does that make it fine art?
I would hope so. I would.
But is that your goal?
No, I would say my work is there to challenge my audience constantly. I want them to ask questions about why something's there about a certain topic, and I want them to form an idea of what that means to them.
So we were talking a little bit earlier. So the topics or the series, I feel like since knowing you, you've always been trying, creating work for a specific show. So what about, how do you approach your own practice, your own art practice?
So I actually, funny enough, brought a few other pieces.
Well, go get them.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Perfect. So keeping it with the idea of inclusion, a lot of my work, personal work, is talking about how we can get people together in a different way that helps the community, makes us stronger as individuals. What brings every human together, whether that's beauty, and then taking the functionality out of it. You can't really fill this up, but you can place them around, so taking out that functionality of traditional glass. Even this piece, an egg shape, how does that connect us as humans? It's we're all born, aren't we? We're all patterned differently, and so this body of work that's soon later, not a specific show, but definitely a body of work is going to have multiple eggs. I'm envisioning 100 or so at different size, different colors, different patterns. These are things to represent humanity, what connects us, because constantly we're being divided in life, and I want my work to connect us more. So that's why I think the specific bra show body of work is important. It's ironic that I would maybe make that work as a white man. It's of course, and some of the most famous patents.
A white heterosexual.
A heterosexual man, yes, cis white male. But the patents that were filed for the bra, the stuff that caused the most health damages, the corset, white man. The bra with the wire, push-up bra, which causes health issues, white man, So I was this is perfect.
So, talk a little bit about having a practice as a glass artist, because most people are familiar with art practices that are painters, media sculpture, and the traditional sense of sculpture, but you're doing glass sculpture, and obviously we're going to do a demo, and we'll see Zach work through it. But how does that work? Because it's very costly to have a glass studio.
It is very costly. It takes a lot of patience, and it's a humbling craft.
And a lot of energy.
Yeah, a lot of energy. Most glass blowers are pretty high energy, jacked individuals, but you'll meet a few that are just calm, cool, and collected. I gotta say, but for glass, it is a life pursuit. You got to be cool with that. You got to know that you're going to be 90 when you're the best. Yeah, I mean, the best glassblower in the world is this guy named Lino. You know, and he's 90 years old and he still turns the pipe. Like, makes.
I thought it was Dale Chihuly.
Sure, Dale Chihuly is a good glass artist, and I thank him for his work in America. But his predecessor, Lino, is the one that taught Chihuly a little bit, you know, a lot, I would say.
Now, so how did you get to Baltimore? Are you from Baltimore?
No, I'm not. I'm from Southern Virginia, the Shenandoah Valley, Charlottesville specifically, and Stanton, Virginia. And I heard about Micah for an animation program, which, you know, once again, I thank you for my education. But I followed my interests, which led me to this Glassblowing studio. I took a class, and then I interned here, and then I finally became a paid worker. And then I started traveling around the world to literally learn different ways to work with glass.
So where have you been? Where did you study? Florence, I would imagine.
Well, I wish, but actually Norway. Like, yeah, so like not a lot of people know that every culture has a glassblowing history. China, you know, it's got 3,000 years of it, you know. So, and Norway, like, and to the Czech Republic, like, are great glass communities, but they work with the material very differently. So I followed like diversity as a way to have an understanding of the medium. Maybe one style doesn't work with me, so I switch it up, just like anything else. If I can't do it easily enough and I can't achieve my goals, then I gotta try somebody else's style. And that's why I'm open to my audience suggestions, curator suggestions. And that's why, like, even this work, probably a year from now, you're gonna be like, I remember seeing that, but it does not look like that now. Because I'm constantly developing.
So do you have any shows coming up?
Currently, I do not have any other shows, but you can see my work and all my upcoming work on my Instagram page, Zach Wade Glass, Zach Wade _glass. Sorry, I had to put that in there. But I'm sort of waiting until I create my next body of work that I'm comfortable with. It takes me some time.
Well, what are you working on?
Well, you know, as I was suggesting.
What's the next body of work? Don't keep us waiting. We want to know.
It's actually a take on furniture. What you define as furniture, conceptually.
So glass furniture.
Glass furniture, larger than life kind of stuff, and like, what do you think a nice brand really means to you? And if the bra show is any indication about what you might see, you're definitely going to see some Dr. Seuss kind of stuff.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but no particular gallery. I've had some galleries in the past pre-COVID that have asked me about some work, but I think right now I'm just sort of waiting until I complete it, and then I'm like, okay.
Well, the wonderful thing about this weekend is that it's this whole sort of working with Jackie Downs, my director at BOPA, creating this whole program for OTS weekend. Tomorrow night, the final panel is about art administrators, gallerists, curators, how they're approaching 2021 programming, what they're doing. So hopefully they'll be reaching out to you. But I think everything is kind of at a slight standstill. And of course, things have gone virtual. So we even have B2020, which is our virtual exhibition. It's our first one at BOPA, and it's please check it out. It's amazing. It looks so good.
I mean, the
whole virtual gallery didn't exist like that maybe 4 years ago, and now it's like, it's so beautiful. You feel like you are in a gallery. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Is that the virtual exhibition that I took a tour on
Yeah.
on the website? Yeah, I love that.
It's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually like curious. I was like, I wonder if I can, because I'm a 3D modeler. I was like, I wonder if I could just send them an STL.
Right.
But actually, in November, speaking of my next body of work, it's actually one piece. It's a 15-foot chandelier that glows in the dark. It's going to be installed in my hometown in a barn, a 200-year-old.
Is it commission?
Huh? It's a little bit. Yeah, nothing too serious.
Right.
Pretty much just paying for the work, but it's going to have track lighting that charges the chandelier, and then when you flip out the lights, you're going to see about 100 glowing orbs in green and blue. The steel structure that hangs from the
So
ceiling.
how long have you been working on it?
That specific piece has been a 10-year process.
God.
I don't make a lot of money to be able to buy that kind of stuff, and as far as filing grants and support like that, I have to support it myself. So
For now.
this is true. I think once I complete that chandelier, though, somebody's gonna want another. Yeah, and I can this furniture concept. I'm actually really excited about. It has some social infrastructure implications that have some social distancing.
Well, it sounds interesting. I mean, I know I would love a glass sofa.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Right.
But I mean, obviously it would have to be super heavy so it wouldn't break through it. But I love the concept. I mean, just the idea of it is.
Even maybe.
You might need to go patent it for someone runs off with it, like glass furniture. I mean, that's amazing.
I think that's the beauty of the creative mind. I can't patent that.
You better right.
Yeah.
Until it's done. And
I'll let that guy who wants to crank out a glass sofa do it. Like literally, you need a forklift to get it into that moment.
Right. So with that, we're going to do a demo with Zach, and Mitchell is going to assist him or join with him. So we're going to go over to the kiln. And so, Zach, so a lot of people obviously haven't blown glass before, so you can be technical with people, all right? Let people know. And so I'm just going to step back and get out of the fire, if you will.
All right, well, come this way. We're going to try two different techniques today.
Say hi to Mitchell.
Hello. And this is such a great treat. Mitchell Noah is a very talented glass artist as well.
And an educator.
And an educator, and I thank you for being here, my friend. So anyways, we work with a few different pieces of equipment. One is,
What are you making?
oh, I'm making one of my bra pieces.
All right.
Yeah, and you're gonna see what it takes to get there, which is going inside of our furnace, which is 2,150 degrees. And as you can see, it's as bright as the sun. You can feel that, right? So, we're hot. Hot is our friend. We have these giant metal straws that we dip one hot end to our furnace to get glass out of there, which we call it a gather. So we do that by turning the pipe like this. And if you're familiar with a honey stick, it's the same way that you would gather up honey. So I'm going to go inside real quick, and inside of here is 100% clear glass, or silica lime glass. And you notice that it's orange. That's just because when things are hot, they tend to glow. They change color. So if I stop turning, you can see it drips towards the floor. So I have to always turn the glass, or turn the pipe. It's similar to lathe work. You have to keep it balanced. So I'm going to shape the sides. You might want to hop on over there. And then I'm going to pressurize the pipe with a little bit of air. And what you'll see inside is a little bubble grow. So now I'm going to wait. I want to add glass to this. On this gather, we're going to dip the color. So I'm going to put a band of color, which my buddy Mitchell is going to get ready for me. And which is awesome here at this specific studio is we have two reheating pieces of equipment. But if you want the technical terms, this is a furnace, this is called a glory hole, or a reheating kiln. And then behind you where we're going to put our finished glass piece are these kind of giant ovens. Some people think glass cools down or dries off. They think it's wet because it's shiny. It's just hot. We're actually letting it cool down to room temperature at a very slow speed. So Mitchell right now is getting a little bit of glass on a solid pipe. So this pipe isn't hollow, so he can't flow into it. But what he is going to do is he's going to get a big chunk of color out of that tiny little box over there. And Jesse, my lovely partner in life right now, is going to help open that door here in a second, which is really fun and exciting. And then after that, I'm going to go in to the furnace again and get more glass. So I'm going to actually shape the glass by rolling it onto the steel table. We call it a marver. It sounds like marble because that's what we used to use back in the Greek days. So then I'm going to inflate. And then I'm going to let it chill again. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to wait until Mitchell is nice and hot. He's going to try to get that into a slightly tapered form. It's kind of difficult with that specific color. Actually, that is local to my hometown. So there's another glassblowing studio. I like to support local. And they actually made that color. It's called Iron Maiden. The color, and the studio is called Sunspot. So if you're ever in Stanford, Virginia, give Sunspots a look. They have wonderful glass and metal work. They also make a lovely glow-in-the-dark color, which I talked about earlier, and also why I'm doing that piece there. So he's almost ready, and I'm actually going to come up behind him. Gas. So there's going to be a point one more. You see how dark it gets, isn't it? It's like 3 p.m. You guys getting that good lighting? Mm-hmm. It's the right side of my face.
We're going to go green.
All right, so he's gonna, after this next heat, he's actually gonna stand right here. We're gonna wrap this whole color band right here towards the bottom of the piece, which will actually be the middle of the piece.
zoom in on that, like on Instagram.
So you can see me and Mitchell talking to each other. It's like communication with your glassblowing assistant is very, very, very important. And it takes years sometimes for a good relationship to really take off and be effective. Luckily for Mitchell and I, we only hate each other a little bit. You gotta have like a little bit of a thick skin, kind of being like a little bit playful while you're in the studio. It's kind of intense. Some of your camera folks can, just. So now what I'm doing is I'm shaping the glass. I'm gonna shape and smooth out that color that we just put onto the clear glass. And then I'm gonna get some more glass. It's gonna get even bigger. Want to walk or something? Yeah. Actually, your block is still in that blue bucket. It's been sitting in the water since last year. Do you mind blowing? That paper's getting gross. Alright, so now I'm going to tell Mitchell to blow for me. Alright, so we're going to let this cool down one more time. And you can see some of that as it cools down, the colors changing. It's actually becoming like a little bit more prevalent. With this specific color though, it will not look anything like that. There will be no blues. There will be no tan colors. That in its coolest form will be reds. A nice diverse spectrum of reds. Alright, so I'm going to go back in for my third gathering, making the piece slightly more large. Alright. So I'm going to cool the pipe off a little bit. Alright. So I'm just going to do a slang shape. And I'm going to taper the tip just a little bit. So I'm going to reheat, and I want to inflate the piece, making the piece kind of look like a torso or an olive shape. shot. If it works, it works. If not, it's just going to be some broken glass. Oh, I'm going to use the jazz. Oh, I thought you were going to grab it. Sorry. The reheating count for a bulb is around 2,300 degrees or 20. Which means that it has an ability to heat up the glass a little bit more, right? Lightly.
Wrapping up. This one ends at 3:40. Okay. Also, my phone is about to die, so.
I love seeing it take shape.
Now we're switching the style in which we work with the glass. So before I was working in a process that it would be called vessel work. This way of working is going to be more sculptural. So right now, as the piece is cooling out, Mitchell is turning the pipe, but and when I'm working with the piece, he's not going to be turning it, so I'm able to do more sculptural processes.
And you can also see the colors coming in.
Yeah, so that red. So see that red coming in right there? That's pretty much what it's going to start to look like.
Lots of fire, people. Torches, fire, flame. So Zach, does this make it smoother?
This is what makes it smoother, but actually this is how it gets those recessed forms.
So, for our audience, I don't know if they can.
I'm actually sucking in rather than blowing out.
So I don't know if you can see that, audience. Zach is actually sucking in and is creating the indents in the glass. It's really crazy to watch that happen because it went from this little solid piece of glass and now it's been blown into a shape, and then it was a bubble, a circle, and now it's flattened and he's creating the indentation like a chef. It's really amazing to watch. So with that, you are analyzing it?
Actually, I don't want the other crust, if you will, to suck in anymore, so I'm letting it lock up. So now, I just want to spot heat this one spot right here. Trying to make it as symmetrical as I can. Go ahead.
So that allows you to suck it in?
Yeah, so I spot heat it while the other parts are colder. They won't suck in as much. So now I'm just going to test it out right here.
So can we get in and just get that? Oh, wow. Okay, that was amazing. So we just saw both of the dents be made. We saw both of the dents be made, and that was crazy.
The piece is almost done.
Right. That's beautiful also. Colors.
No, beautiful there. Sorry.
So is it almost ready to come off?
Yeah, so this is, what I'm doing right now is I'm superheating what we call a jack line, and I'm actually going to have Mitchell just quickly heat it. I'm going to get it kind of gooier so I can make that point a little bit tighter so that the break isn't as big. This will actually round the piece out and make it easier to hide later. I could have done that earlier in the process, and most glass blowers would.
But that's why you're Zach Wade. You do it the Zach Wade way.
Also, I have this like lightsaber of a flamethrower right now, and
So everyone knows this is the Zach Wade glass method.
Sack Wave, yeah, they would tell you it's the Sack Wave move. Yeah. I have a reputation.
It looks amazing. So those colors will slowly start to come in. So now we're about to take it off.
That's right. But we may do one more thing after.
What's that?
Just show you a complete traditional Venetian style vessel.
So check out these gloves. These are some big mitts.
Good luck. Remind me not to wear pants in here. Huh? Remind me not to wear pants in here. Oh my god.
Oh.
Putting water on that incision line to make a stress point. Ready?
Oh, okay. Here we go. Something that they decided to do where I took a piece away because it was getting cracked.
That used to be my job.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and watching us. Thank you, Mitchell. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Reika and Bopa, for letting me do my glass demo and showcase my artwork. And maybe as like credits, would it be okay if I switched the roles and assisted my good buddy as he works fast? And no, I appreciate it. Thank you.
But we'll work with Mitch in the future. He's another amazing glass artist, and his wife and me was in the show I did last year. But anyway, she's very talented, and they were just in Japan studying and exploring. So anyway, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank Zach for being our #2 virtual tour for our 32nd annual open studio tour for Bopa. And make sure you go to his website, go to his social handles, check out his work. He's very talented, and he does have work for sale, so support our artists. Thank you.
Thank you.